My people, you know what it is. Your favorite podcast, the Loc'd podcast. If you're outside, I hope you're being careful. If you're in the house, I know you're being careful. But you should always be careful and be safe. Because, I mean, why would you do anything other than that? It's your boy Tone. I'm in here with my peoples.
Your boy CG.
What's up, everybody? Shaw, man.
And you know what it is. We back one more again in it. And we going to just get to talking because there's a lot going on out here in the world. The first thing that we had just discussed was the NILs with the college athletics and thereabouts. Guys, give me something, man. It's a lot of subject matter.
Go ahead, Shaw. You got it first.
Yeah, the NILs. I mean, it's been in place now for what I think a year, maybe 2 years.
Right about a year.
We really starting to see the effects that it's having on guys. What type of actual deals people are getting, and I mean, so far so good. A lot of the coaches are talking about how this recruiting is becoming more so free agency rather than college recruiting. But I mean, if you think about it, it's been like that. We've heard all the stories about the bags getting thrown around at different athletes all throughout the years. But these deals, man, are impressive. So you're looking at these guys on draft day, them getting drafted. That draft check it's not that big of excitement as it used to be. These draft suits, you see my man Sauce Gardner, he had that ice around his neck already, so the NIL deals is definitely a big thing, and these kids is really getting paid. Some kids 6-figure deals, some up there in the millions. I watched the podcast with the Bus Boys with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, and they went to Nebraska and they went to the University of Michigan, and they were talking about just the amounts of money that people are getting. Casey Thompson, I think he's the quarterback from Nebraska, now he just transferred from Texas, has said that if you are a starter on Texas's football team, you're guaranteed like at least $80,000 a year in NIL money, and that is nuts.
80,000. I mean, 80,000 at 18 to 22. So we talking about Camaros, we talking about pickup trucks, we talking about because your room and board and your books is paid for. Your meal plan is paid for. Right? So this is play money, low key. You can stack it, but who's stacking at 18, 19, 19?
Really? Yeah, really.
Like I remember my scholarship check, brother. My scholarship check, you get that plus the Pell Grant, you're probably looking at like $7-8 grand, you thinking you up. Like imagine you getting that every couple months. Like,
man,
it don't compare.
Insane.
It's like, are you ready for that at that age? Like, I know me, ain't no way you could have gave me $100,000. I don't know what I would have did with that.
Blew it.
And we've talked about on this show, right? We've talked about entrepreneurship before and investments before and these types of things. But like we said, at 18, 19, especially if you know you got pro potential, right? This is just a stepping stone to the big money. How convenient or how would it be if your internship prepare you for your real job, right? How would getting NIL money and learning what to do with it shape you for when you get the pro money and knowing what to do with it, right? Because everybody gonna trick a bag a little bit. You get some money for the first time and you're real. But so let's think about it like, okay, I get drafted, I get a check. Okay, I'm gonna buy mama a house, I'm gonna buy me a whip, I'm gonna buy me some ice, baby girl gonna be set, whoop de whoop. So if you're getting that money 2 years earlier, right? You can afford to bump your head a little bit and make some of the mistakes. How does getting that money, that amount of money, that much earlier, kind of prepare you for when you get the big bag?
I think personally, it'll help to have courses on that, or just having people, implement some kind of financial study so that people can be aware. But honestly, I feel like There's about what 269 spots in a draft, right? About
Something like that.
269, and
Yeah.
there's about, give or take, there's thousands of football players, right?
Waiting for the
So
call.
right. So my thing is that imagine if they're getting their NIL money or their deals like that, and my thing is like not everybody's gonna make it. So I think it's a good thing that the kids are getting that, whether they're financially literate or not, because some might not get a chance to go to the league and earn more money. So that may be their chance to kind of get their bag per se. But definitely, I mean, for the kids that have that kind of opportunity, it's definitely a good thing. But I feel like along with that, they should offer like financial literacy courses, because a lot of them gonna blow through it, and a lot of them don't understand that they got to pay taxes on that money. So the money they spend, like they got to realize they got to pay it back. But that's what I think. They should have some kind of like classes or something to help them out with the money, though.
All right.
And it's like even in some states you can catch that bag even earlier. Like it's because it's at I think it's state level legislation with that. So it's some kids in high school that are actually eligible to start making money off of their name and likeness, which is like, man, like that's a nice head start right there.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah. Well, okay,
I got a
and when
question
you
though. What you think players in the MAC making off the NIL deal?
like the high level names, or just like
The
your
best
average?
person in the MAC, whoever the best player in the MAC is, what you think his NIL deal looking like? Does he have an NIL deal?
I think so, and I think it's at least six figures, at least like low
Really?
level six figures. Yeah,
so you saying 100 or you saying a quarter?
I'm saying 100,
Okay.
100,000 from the MAC. So at
100,000
like
for the Mac.
what out of Athens, what you think you could get?
I say 80, 90. You got it. The car dealerships will be your play.
Yeah, but okay, how many car dealerships have you seen in Athens County? I know
Two.
where they at, but
Yeah, they
exactly.
past
So,
Walmart.
and you're not seeing nothing that's gonna be like, damn, like I want that. It's like you get a Ford pickup.
Well, okay. So I look at it like this, right? It's
Bob Toy
apples to
got all the NIL money.
it's apples to oranges to a degree, right? But if you look at the one kid from St. Peter's, right? We've discussed St. Peter's on this show. I will not reiterate why we have discussed St. Peter's on this show, but the one kid with the mustache, he could drain it. He had a BW3's deal. He had a deal with Buffalo Wild Wings, right? Small school, big exposure. So where does the exposure get the company the return on the investment?
His school in Jersey City though. His school in the middle of Jersey City.
It is. It is. So I'm saying like small school, if we give this kid the bag, how does that help my company as a brand on the NIL? Like I feel like that's the one thing in these NIL conversations that a lot of people just assume they hand the kids the bread, and it's like, nah, baby, we need
not
that
all
back
of
in
them.
exposure based on your performance.
Yeah, not all of them. My most NIL deals that I've seen is more so like promo codes, like the same thing the girls be doing with Fashion Over. You know what I'm saying? You get your little promo code at Code Shaw, and then with the amount of people that use my promo code, they break me off the bag off that back end. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's still about marketability and what you yourself can sell, because you could give me all the promo codes in the world, but if don't nobody click my link and use it, then it's not doing me no good.
Right. And unrelated question. I mean, related but unrelated. Just since we're talking about the business side of the NIL, it's really easy to look at what the kids are getting, right? But since we're talking about the business side of the NIL, at what point as a business does that marketability kind of fall off? You see what I'm saying? Like, is it performance based, incentive based, or maybe you're having a tough year. Maybe if you're a quarterback making this bag, maybe you just lost your blindside tackle. Maybe you just lost your blindside guard. Maybe that's going to affect your play and your marketability for us based on this contract that we have signed. Could y'all see this going bad for kids in some way?
I
at a
think
certain
as
point.
a business standpoint, as many kids it'll go bad for.
It'll go good
I'm
for.
banking on the one kid to make a hit. So
Mhm.
you take somebody like Reggie Bush, for instance, right?
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh man.
For every Reggie Bush, you got a kid that don't make it. You know what I'm saying? Not even a kid. You got 10 kids that don't make it.
10, 15.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that one hit on Reggie Bush makes those 10 losses all worth it. You get what I'm saying? So, from a company's mindset, I don't think they're too concerned off of the ones that don't hit because it's an investment. It's bound to happen. You just banking on that one big play where you got, the biggest name. Reggie Bush was the biggest name in sports at his time. So
Period.
you get one of those,
Period.
you to the moon. You get it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Um, talking about the NIL, still talking about college football. The transfer portal is jumping right now. A lot of kids have said, "I'm leaving my school and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere." What role do y'all think that the NIL money maybe plays in somebody going here versus going there? USC versus Alabama. Who got the money for me? Where's the bag? And I'm gonna go
Right.
play.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I'm just reading this right now, but the Blendikoff winner, Jordan Addison, like he entered the transfer portal, and I spoke with Tone about this off camera, but it makes sense because Pickett just got drafted to the Steelers, and is basically like that's his QB,
Yes.
and it's been reported that USC has offered him like $2 million basically to go there, and so think this, you're the Blendikoff winner. And on top of that, your quarterback's going to the draft, so you ain't got nobody throwing you the ball, and you get offered $2 million, and you're going to sunny California. Like, but now they just got to basically say like, nah, we didn't tamper with him, and probably it's gonna get swept on the rug. He's gonna play for USC, make that bag, and he's gonna get drafted after next year probably. Crazy.
Yo,
Crazy.
USC, that Lincoln Riley, he is his recruiting, and they have the number one transfer ranking right now. I'm looking at the transfer portal right now, but that's wild, man.
They may
And
win nationals, bro. They may
yeah,
win the title.
yeah,
And he's a quarterback coaching some
like,
so and so somebody. Like I
but
mean
like even
Kyler,
just being in LA with this new NIL landscape,
selling point,
it's not
destination.
fair because Alabama can't compete with that.
Ain't
I'm
no
sorry.
beaches in
Like,
Tuscaloosa. Ain't
yeah,
no
I'm
beaches in
sorry.
Tuscaloosa.
You're not competing with that. Like, they they're gonna go nuts. Like, just watch. Give it 5 years. If he stays there and this continues, USC is gonna be the only logical option for anybody that's that caliber of an athlete.
Right.
Especially if you've already proven yourself somewhere else. It may
Exactly.
not make sense coming out of college. I mean, coming out of high school to college, right? Because I mean, you're an unproven commodity as a player.
Right.
But let's say you went to a Nebraska or Wisconsin or Florida or Michigan. Let's say you got hot. Let's say you balled out, and then you got this extra year eligibility too.
Mm-hmm.
And
It,
it's a
it's,
free. You get one free transfer too. So that's the big thing that a lot of people don't know. Also, is that I think since that COVID season, right?
yeah,
Since
yeah.
that COVID season, they put a rule in effect that you could transfer and play immediately without sitting out.
Not
So
having
we
to sit
saw,
out.
we've seen Alabama take advantage of this. They did it just this past year. They did it again actually, but their best receiver Jameson Williams played at State. Actually played against Alabama the
Mhm.
year before in the college football playoff. Transfers
Yeah.
to Alabama and goes off. They don't
Nuts.
they don't wind up winning the national championship this year, but Georgia had a receiver that was playing for Georgia, won a national championship with Georgia, and he's at Alabama now. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's insane. So now you getting kids from a kid goes to University of South Carolina, great school, but I ball out and Lincoln Riley called me and say, yeah, I got 2.5 for you to leave there and come here. What's there to talk about? I'm going to the real USC.
Right.
So okay, question that just came to mind on the same topic. Does this all the way that this is shaping up between the NIL and the one free transfer and the extra year eligibility, right? Does this kind of turn college athletics into a modified prep school?
That's a good question.
When you say a modified prep school, though, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how some kids, depending on how old you are, because I think it varies high school wise, maybe state to state, like depending on what your birth date is and how you classify as a recruit, right? Like you could graduate high school, at least in basketball, right? At least in basketball, you graduate high school, you could go to Oak Hill Academy as a high school graduate. You could go to a prep school, not lose
like
college eligibility. You see what I'm saying? So you could do something like that, but I get to play here and I could also play here. If I do good here, then I could peel out. You see what I'm saying? So it's still getting you ready for that next level, but it gives the player the flexibility without losing the eligibility. Low key.
Yeah. Okay. You broke that down good. Yeah, because I was a postgraduate at Fort Union Military Academy, and there was basketball dudes there. That same thing. You graduate, but then you got like an extra year, basically.
It's
so
like
it's
gap
like
year. Yeah.
So it's almost like reclassing, but actually it is reclassing. You think about it, y'all?
It is reclassing, but you're playing against everybody else that already reclassed. So
that's thing too. So when I went to Fort Union and I was a post grad, like we played against the Army, Navy, Virginia Tech, like all their the guys that didn't play as much or they're redshirt guys. Yeah. So like those guys that we played against, and it was D1 competition, so it wasn't like we was playing against a bunch of bums,
Right. Yeah.
So man, that's crazy.
Isn't it? Like at the highest level of football, these 2 or 3 rule changes have basically reshaped the landscape of the players having the ability to chart their own course, while scouts get to see you in 2 or 3 different systems, baby. Like scouts get to see you in 2 or 3 different conferences, depending on how this works. Don't throw a medical red shirt in there, my God.
They've been there for 8 years.
But I mean, but with this though, this made it hard for all the high school guys that are trying to get into college, because now not only does everybody on your roster before 2020 have an automatic extra year, now this transfer portal thing is so crazy. It's like if I'm a college coach, which one do I look in first? Do you look at the high school recruits or do you look in this transfer portal to get somebody that's already been proven?
Are you going to the pool?
Guys. Seasoned guys.
You get on.
He knows what life is on campus. He knows how to be away from home. He knows how to read a playbook. He knows he needs his grades.
Get it?
He knows the weight room. He knows the nutrition. He knows the system.
And it's
versus somebody we got to come in here and teach from scratch.
And it's like you got 85 scholarship spots, right? So 85 is 85 no matter where the 85 go to. Mm-hmm. So if I get in this if I dip in this transfer portal and get a solid, 5-6 guys, I only got 15 spots left for my incoming recruiting class. That's 5. That once you add that up across all 120 teams, however many it is, that's a lot of guys missing out on a spot, man. So this transfer portal, this NIL deal, all this stuff is having a domino effect, and I think we'll really see it. I think we'll really see the effects of it in like 2-3 years when the guys that were freshmen before COVID are all seniors. We'll see this stuff. But I mean, you already see it now. This guy's in the transfer portal that's been stuck. Like this guy's been in this transfer portal for 2 years.
Yeah, drowning. I'm drowning.
Like it's not all sweet.
But at the same time, it's going to really separate, the elite from the average, because you're going to see a high school kid, you like, yo, he can come in and play now.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have like Tom was saying, like, do we want to bring a kid in and develop him? And honestly, bro, like I tell all my younger athletes, whether they freshman or junior or people that's looking to get, scholarships, I always tell them, like, look, there's so many people in America that want your spot. So you have the upper advantage because somebody might be training, somebody may not. But at the same point in time, like nowadays, if like you're not training or you're not getting some kind of training, you're gonna fall behind because all that natural stuff, it's that's like a dime in a dozen. So you have to be more prepared because the more polished you are, a coach.
You're now competing against guys
exactly
who maybe 2 or 3 years older and more developed than you are, whereas before you were not.
So it's already uphill battle. So that's why I'm like, yo, y'all think you think you good? Like you're not going against the people in your town. You're going against people that's already been in the system. So you think it's sweet. All right, you can be right back here looking at me. And I'm like, bro, I've already lived that stuff already. So I've done it. So
my question to you would be, what would your advice be to say you got an athlete, you've been training, he gets down to his school, it's his freshman year, right? And his freshman thing doesn't go too good. He says, Coach, I'm thinking about transferring. What do you tell him? What should he be looking at before he decides to transfer?
For one, he needs to understand, he needs to ask the questions like, is he in the plans for the offense or deep, or whatever position he's playing? Like, what does the coach think he needs to work on? If it's some stuff that, it's that he can control and it's stuff that he really can get better at, then okay, go through it and get better at it. But if it's something to where like, hey, you like deep on the depth chart, bro, like you might not play, then you want to consider, looking at other places. But before you, make that leap, like you got to have an inclination that you can play other places rather than be like, well, I play here, I should be good enough to go X, Y, and Z. So I mean, it all, like, honestly, bro, like it all depends on the situation. My thing is like you always want to ask where you're at to get, like, ask why or how can I get better or how can I actually get playing time. And if they can give you something that you can actually do it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, like I've run into a few kids that are maybe playing at the FCS level, maybe even some of them D2, right? Mm-hmm. And they bank on having that big season at those levels in order to propel them up to the Power 5 level. And I always tell them, like, well, most of the time when people transfer, they don't transfer up, right?
Yep.
Historically, if I'm transferring, if I start off at Virginia Tech, I'll probably leave Virginia Tech and go to ODU. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you transferring from a Virginia State to a Virginia Tech,
you better be real good. You better be somebody should like you. That's what I'm saying.
You fell through the cracks in recruiting somewhere almost.
Yeah.
Right. So
you didn't have enough film. You had the skills. Rare. You didn't get enough catches, and it is very rare. But somebody missed the boat on you as a player, mm-hmm. and in your short amount of time at this destination, you've shown that you can compete at a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like this spring, like I said, I'm looking at this transfer portal now. So spring football just ended. All these schools had their spring games, and you see, like just today, literally today, it's 7 guys jumped in it today. The day before, it's like 12, 13. And so it's like that spring has become so critical now. Like back when I was in school, like the spring game was cool just to see where you at and to see like what you need to work on before fall camp. Yep. But now it's like, nah, this spring is like if you're gonna be here or not. So it's like you ball out this spring, or we're gonna tell you that you should probably enter the portal. And
and that raises a point. And CG, I don't want to cut you off, bro.
No.
From a coaching perspective, right? I mean, this is a really good topic because there's so many layers to that onion, right? So, from a coaching perspective, right? From a personnel perspective, as a coach, if I know here's what we have on paper in front of us, here's what these guys have shown us, here's what I think we have, here's who could come in here, here's what I know I want. When do you tell a kid, hey, baby,
Hey,
it's my hey, dog. When do you John Calipari a kid? When do you Deion Sanders a kid? When do you
bro,
say there is a future for you in this game? It's just not here in this program.
look, hey, and look, Shaw can contest to this. If you've been in any kind of like either DB, wide receiver, running back room, you know, shit, even like D line, if you've been in those kind of meetings, depending on what your coach is or who he was, he'd tell you right there, flat out in front of everybody, embarrass you, talk crazy to you, and be like, you know something, we don't need you. We got like 10 other people. Matter of fact, we recruiting a place right now. And like you gotta sit there and take it like, damn, like he right, but it's like so now honestly, and like I was thinking about that, that's all I was smiling, laughing, because in my meeting rooms when I played running back and receiver in college, funny. But now that the whole NIL and like the whole transfer portal thing, I can only imagine some of the coaches, but you know something, your ass in the portal right now. I don't teach this.
I tell a kid,
imagine Fred in a meeting.
I tell a kid quick, I don't need you. Let welfare feed you. Why would I buy me a purse when I could?
You're wrong.
That's a spitter lyric. I didn't even say. I tell a kid quick, I don't need you. Let welfare feed you. Why would I buy you a purse when I could buy me a Regal?
Like all honesty, like all seriousness though, like I think the time that you tell a kid that it's probably best he get in the portal is like if you get recruited over. You get what I'm saying? It's like if we bring 2 guys in at your position and both of them better than you, like it's probably time to
you might want to do something else.
But but before that same scenario, they just will just like let you be a practice player and make you basically do busy work to kind of like you're not going to play. They might give you a special teams duty, but you'll never get that position, bump. But now it's like, hey, I can get somebody else in here that's way better than these 2 dudes that's better than you. Competition is a mug, bro. So
yeah, dog. I think it's so real, man. That's why I be trying to tell this to kids, man. They be getting mad at me, but I just be telling them like, yo, anytime you think that you nice, bro, that's when you gotta work even harder. Because like CG said, you're not competing against all of the class of 2022 no more. You competing against the class of up to 2018. You know what I'm saying? Grown ass men that's been on a college strength plan, college meal plan for the past 3 years, and they just decided they want to go somewhere else. And oh yeah, the school you're looking at, that's where I want to
go. Facts.
And when your eligibility is running out, when this may be your last shot, when this may be my last year, I got to put it all on the line here. I need the right situation, and I need to ball out in that right situation just to give myself a shot to catapult to the next level. That level of hunger, like when you're down to your last, $5 in your pocket, whatever, NIL be damned. I'm trying to get off for a period so I could go up one more level. I don't know that is unmatched in sports. We've all heard those stories about the kid that slept in their car. We all heard those stories about the kid that, was this close from getting cut and just made the camp and then balled out in the camp. So if you young,
I call those dudes can't go back all-stars.
Yeah.
Like Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly is like the.
Yeah. I'm not. I refuse.
Hey.
I don't care what. I will carry the bags to the bus. I don't care. So when you got an 18, 19-year-old kid, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play ball. And you've got a guy that has had some hard knocks and is like, nah, this is it for me. You
But
can't match
again,
that.
every 18-year old kids is in that same position. Like I seen that a lot too. It'd be some young boys that just like you. I see it all the time when you playing teams in different demographics. So
Mm-hmm.
like you might play
Mm-hmm.
at a you might play at a school that's in a nice neighborhood in the suburbs and don't really got to worry about too much. I know for a fact, no matter what, when I get home, it's gonna be some food on the table.
Hot
Compared to you,
shower.
yeah, you play some dudes where this all I got,
And I'm
and
and I might have to do something else after I
yeah,
get done with this.
yeah. So it's like you playing against guys that's playing with that shit. It's hard to turn up that energy if you ain't got that in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Life or death. Life or death. Low key.
yeah.
Definitely an interesting topic. We'll see how a lot of this stuff plays out, and we'll see what rules will change because, like any new legislation, right? There's a way to work the system. There's a way to game the system, and it's gonna have to exist for a while until we poke all the holes in it and make changes on it. Um. So keeping it football, we talked about a little bit of drafts. We talked about the NIL. We talked about the transfer portal. Um, Somebody that we all know, a name that we've heard a lot, a name that we've championed and worn hoodies for and supported through activism in one way or another. Colin Kaepernick is making another attempt to come back to the NFL. He's held a series of workouts this spring and summer, recruited some younger guys and high level pros to come work and throw it at a series of different places around the country. I don't know how to ask a question based on this comeback attempt, but I'll start with the obvious question, the elephant in the room. At 34, 35, 33, 5 years removed from the game, can he still do it?
Yeah, I mean, like Shaw said it off camera. He won't be the worst QB in the league. But at the same time, I feel like by him making that documentary and him trying to get back into the same league that he was basically, talking junk about,
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm a little confused. Like, why would you still be working out? Like, why not be a philanthropist like you set out to be? You know what I'm saying? So now, honestly, it's almost like he's bored, or he really just like desperate to play football again because he's not going to play in any. He doesn't want to play in any other league. But I don't know, bro. Like at this point, when it comes to Kaepernick, I'm kind of lost because I don't know what his agenda anymore. Like his agenda was one thing, and then he tried to. I don't know. He just be confusing me.
Yeah, it's like didn't he sue the NFL or something already?
Yeah, he got paid.
Yeah, he
Sued
sued.
and yeah, sued and had a settlement. He didn't win the suit, but they settled out of court and he got paid. And I thought one of the conditions of that settlement was that we wasn't gonna do this no more.
Yeah, so it's like once you take it to court and you do all the suing stuff, like the NFL, we paid you to go away. Like,
Which they did
but
handsomely.
I mean, if that's what he wants to do, cool. This how I always felt about the Colin Kaepernick situation though, and hopefully people don't take this the wrong way. But if Cam Newton or Russell Wilson or hell, if Lamar Jackson does it tomorrow, if they do the same thing Colin Kaepernick did, they still will be in the league. Yeah, it's going to be an uproar, but the team is not going to cut them. And I'm talking about
Yeah,
Cam Newton back
Yeah,
in
yeah.
I'm talking about Cam Newton back in 2016, 2015 when all this was
Pri-
going on. Not
Prime
talking about,
Cam.
yeah, prime Cam. So it's like yeah, that was a big sacrifice, but like we've talked about on this before, productivity that buys you a lot of leash. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if they feel that you expendable, then that's why the league carried them like how they carried it. You know, not to speak on alleged stuff, but Deshaun Watson got 22 cases out there right now, and Cleveland just gave that man $230 million, like guaranteed. Like he's getting $230 million, no matter how this case goes. He's getting 230. So is
Allegedly.
yeah, like
Allegedly.
it's all about if what you can do for me is worth having you around.
Well, and the counter argument to that, I would say, is what makes one alleged sin higher, lower, less than the other.
You
Right?
got one. You got one. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, think about it. This man said, I don't like what I see going on around here, and I'm gonna do this about it. Here's my small part. I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna sit down, I'm not gonna stand up for the flag, I'm gonna take a knee. And I'm gonna do this for the duration of this one song, whether it's 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 35 seconds.
Well,
So to be kicked out of a league for doing that peacefully, not bothering nobody, versus being alleged to have, sexually assaulted some folks. Like which sin is greater than the other? And we all saw the video clip from another podcast of people that we pretty much respect that basically said everything I was saying then, y'all doing now. You've got end racism in your end zone. You've got Black Lives Matter on your helmets. Like everything I was saying then is still valid now, and you're doing it. So why don't I belong here? Because I've never been charged with anything criminal. And we know from a timeline standpoint in the NFL, you could run it down. Go all the way back to Michael Irvin, whoever you need to talk to, say to, whatever. Dog, folks have been caught with guns, been charged with murder, all type of things, and still played in this league. Sexual assault, rape, still playing in this league.
you just said it right there. Like anything that, so understand
what's acceptable.
What's acceptable. Is it, obviously, whether it's rape, whatever, anything sexual, that's deemed as a slap on the wrist because it's the boys club. But anytime it's like racial stuff like that, where it's dealing with where like we gotta identify or address the elephant in the room, then now it's uncomfortable for for certain people. But when it's rape and all this stuff, like that's, I don't want to like both are bad, like both are bad, but it's just, again, racial inequality or equality is way more of a harsh situation to deal with rather than rape. It should be the other way around, but it's not. It's where we live in. It's crazy.
It should totally be the other way around, especially when you think about the fact, and we've talked about this on this show before. The league is made of 70% to 85% black men. So let one black man
exactly.
say, I don't like how we as black men are being treated.
I'll make an example out of one. So if one of y'all want to kneel, okay, guess what? You ain't ever playing this league again, boy. So
bye.
But this the thing though, right? You ask what sin is worse. It's not about the sin, it's about the sinner. Right? So if the star of the league commits a sin, we've seen the star of the league commit a sin, and he played 16 years, and they just celebrated him this past year when he was on his little retirement tour.
Hello.
Had a whole thing with we don't need to speak on it, but he played in the league long after his transgressions. We had a guy get accused of murder and go win a Super Bowl the next year. So it's about who's doing it. Because
we've had a guy kill some animals and fund the whole enterprise of animal competition that led to the death of some of these animals and got put out, did jail time, and came back.
Right. So, but as many of those stories we have, it's John Doe that was the on the third spot on the roster that did the same thing. We never heard from him again. So, like I said, it's based off your productivity and what you can bring to me, and that's going to determine whether or not the team is going to stand by you or just hang you out to dry.
Yeah,
Better be
yeah.
better be a very good asset to the team.
Basically, that's what it boiled down to.
Because if you look
Well,
right in that transfer portal,
well, and I would ask this question, right? Would you, the same way we just talked about the NIL, we just talked about the transfer portal, we just talked about all this stuff, we just talked about the benefit of having a guy who knows what the requirements are, right? And in the college level, how much of a benefit that is that hey, we ain't gotta teach you, dog. We ain't gotta tell you no whole lot, man. You come on in here, we give you the playbook, you know what to do. Go ahead. I don't want to say how is it different in that situation versus this situation, but could it be seen as a benefit to have a guy who knows how to run any offense? Physically, he's probably still capable. By all accounts, he still has a cannon. By all accounts, his feet still work and he can read a coverage. So you put him in your system, he could do this and that. Allegedly, he should be able to, right? So if the convenience is, bringing a guy out of transfer portal that already knows what's up versus teaching somebody brand new, would that still apply at the highest level of football? He's a pro. He's a pro. He's been a pro.
He ain't had
Would
nah,
you
bodies flying around his legs in 7 years.
say it again?
He ain't had bodies flying around his legs and throwing the ball in 7 years. It's different.
Is that something you forget?
Yeah, you don't forget. This a whole different type of. It's a whole different type of feeling having grown bodies flying past you. The actual threat of getting blindsided, getting hit, getting chopped. Like, yeah, it's different. If you ain't played in a football game in years, and then we just expect you to come out here and perform, like that's crazy. Like I can't imagine um, randomly getting back into a team and getting into a game situation. Like I can't imagine what would happen. It probably
you
wouldn't
have
be
to,
pretty.
you have to look sorry
Man, look
for
at
the first couple snaps. For
like
the first couple snaps,
yeah, like people just run like head on a swivel. Like yeah, no, it's different.
but you be clean though. You got to clean
Oh yeah, I looked the part.
ball. Get a pick. I told you I do this. I do this.
Yeah,
Be
probably got
lucky.
good 2 plays in me.
That is silly, man.
Right, right. So from football to basketball, we are heating up in the NBA playoffs. We're getting to the heart of the NBA season. Um, Looking at this time of year, looking at some of these matchups, looking at some of these series that are winding down versus just starting. Shaw, we have a department on this show that you like to give your betting advice and expertise, which has benefited all of us. I will say,
It's not advice, man. I'm
you
just
know what you're talking about when you be talking that talk, man.
it's not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I would or would not do. You think for yourself. If you follow, cool. If not, you know, do you?
So, looking at this stage of the game, entering the second round of the playoffs, what are some things that you would look for in a series that would say, "Yeah, I would bet this series. Yeah, I would bet this game," or "Yeah, I would not"? What jumps out to you?
So like when looking like the better series, like obviously Joel Embiid just got hurt. He's not playing the first 2 games of the series in the Miami versus Philadelphia. So I probably put a bet down on Miami to win the series. Probably put another bet on that to be over in about 5 games. Might put something on the sweep, but definitely it's a given that Philly's gonna win that. The next thing that I would look at, Dallas versus Phoenix. I think Phoenix gets them out the paint early. Where it gets good is the Milwaukee versus Boston, Memphis versus Golden State. I think those is going to be a lot of action on those games, especially on the live bet portion. So somebody goes into halftime with a little lead, take the team that's down to come back and cover it. It's a nice little come up, things like that. But it's definitely going to be fun. I know Brooklyn lost a lot of people, a lot of money. Nobody, I don't think anybody expected them to get swept like that. So,
yeah. And while we're on that topic, man, I mean, we've talked about Kyrie, we've talked about KD, we've talked about injuries, we've talked about a lot of things as this season has gone on this show. What do y'all not necessarily think went right or wrong for Brooklyn, but given the potential they had, what the expectations were, and now the way that it's kind of like flamed out for them? How do you feel about that? Because I see disappointment. Kyrie was supposed to be the all-knowing wizard, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, look, the James Harden, like in the big three, like that had promise, but Kyrie couldn't play with him, so he never could gel. So they lost a lot of firepower right there. And two, it's almost like they ran out of gas. Like once KD came back, he was decent, but it's almost like, and it's more rumors going around that saying like KD is basically declining because of what happened this year. So I agree with you. I think it was a disappointment. At least they could have won one game at least, but I feel like they are just one person or one other player removed from actually competing. And on top of that, Kyrie needs to play all the games, because if not, it's hard to actually gel and to create cohesiveness. So I think they'll be better next year, and who knows what they may get in a trade or something, or in the draft. You never know. So definitely disappointment though.
Yeah, I think it was a disaster.
That's a good word for that. That's a really good word for that.
Yeah, Kyrie's choice to not get vaccinated and not play any home games, that's ultimately what cost him the series. And like we said earlier when it first happened, if this is going to be something that he wanted to stand on, then he got to stand on it and take whatever comes with it. So what came with it was James Harden getting frustrated, said, "I'm out. I don't want to play." You trade James Harden away for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons gets there, and
he's a question mark, and he's been a question mark.
He doesn't play. KD winds up getting hurt early in the season because he has to carry too much of a load. He's an older player now. He gets hurt. He misses 20 games. They come back. The mandate gets lifted in New York. They play 10 games together. Then they go into a playoff series against Boston, which was one of the best defensive teams in the league.
And young and athletic.
Young, athletic, hungry, ready to embarrass you. So at the end of the day, that's what happened. And I wouldn't re-sign Kyrie to a contract if I'm the owner.
I wouldn't either.
He's a great player, but
he's talented.
He's too all over the place for me. And then KD on a decline. I mean, maybe. I think KD more so. KD never been the strongest player. So as you get older, you lose strength. So he's probably, really not as strong. And they got physical with him and made the game extremely hard for him. And there was nothing anybody else could do to really help him. Kyrie's gifted, but he's 6 foot. Need another wing guy out there, which makes the Ben Simmons thing just ridiculous.
I mean, you lose Harden for somebody that doesn't suit up.
It's a loss.
It makes KD that much easier to double. Because where's your threat? Because young KD maybe would have come down the lane and banged on you maybe once or twice. He had the hops, he had the skills, he had the speed to do it. After the injury a few years ago, that's not his game. He's gonna pump fake you, he's gonna draw you, he's gonna shoot it on you. He's gonna finesse his way to the rim. He's gonna command a double team and kick to somebody for an outside bucket. Right? That's, to me, that's why his game fits so well in Golden State. Because boy, you in trouble.
You got shooters all over the court.
And bigs for an easy kick, layup. I mean, foul space. You know what I mean? Like, you had guys. That was, in my mind, the way basketball is played and should be played. They played beautiful basketball when he was in Golden State. So you try to replicate that somewhere else. Yeah, hey, we got 3 guys. They good dudes. They can hoop. Let's see what they do. And it just, you know, you can't catch fire twice. So to me, KD's not the same player that he was a few years ago. He could still go. He could still give you 30. He could still triple W on a good night.
You still
right? You know, but I think, just my opinion, this fallout in Brooklyn may be the start of the end of the super team big threesies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't catch lightning in a bottle. It's not we just put these guys on the team and they can run out there and they can hoop. Cause you had on paper 2 years in a row on paper, you had a clear path. And now here we go. You know, you need role players. You need them dogs. You need the third guy off the bench. You need the 6th man. You need, right? We can't rely on you on the road, at home, 82 games plus playoffs. Y'all gonna show up. Y'all gonna ball out. Players ain't built like Ray Allen's not walking through that door.
He could.
LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook.
Whoa, you said Russell Westbrook.
You can't put all these dudes on these teams and just expect no more. And that came after the Miami with Bron, with Wade, with Bosh and Ray, that big 3, that big 4. After that happened, it was an arms race. Everybody wanted to gather up stars and put them on the floor together. And I think we're now starting to see that just because you have stars who can hoop on a basketball team, it doesn't guarantee success.
Yep. But then again, all those dudes are older than Lakers. Everybody's over 30, I think. Well, Westbrook is what?
Late 20s, early 30s. I'd have to look it up.
Westbrook like 32. Westbrook older than me.
So there you go. So you got, you already knew. Honestly, it had promise because of name power, but you already know, like, man, they're not gonna make it the whole season. Somebody will have to sit out half the season because
What it boiled down to is when you make them super teams, you can't afford to be good. When I say that, I mean by your salary cap, so you're supporting role players. You can only play people that's willing to take league minimum, and guys that can help you win championships don't take league minimum.
Well, in Golden State, they do.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Though we're talking about lightning in the bottle. So we all saw the fallout of both of those, the most recent super teams, the Warriors and the Miami Heat. And the problem was their depth. They couldn't afford to have players come off the bench for them unless they was in years 16, 17.
Yeah. Westbrook is 33. I just looked it up. But I think you're right. But I think when you look at Memphis, I mean, they're the easy take, right? They're the easy pick. They're the easy team to look at and say, yo, they are balling. But it's a resurgence. Like, the game goes in cycles, just like baseball or football or anything else, right? So now you've got a team that has basically financially played small ball, right? This hasn't been a free agent destination. They haven't been throwing buckets of cash at guys and saying, come play with us. They haven't been saying, yo, this is Hollywood. This is LA. Come play with us. Yo, this is South Beach. This is Miami. Come play with us. Yo, this is Boston. We've got tradition. Come play with us. So I think we're starting to see the game go back to draft, building through the draft, compiling talent through free agency without having to say, we're going to get this marquee superstar and that marquee superstar and these other three guys, and we're going to make a ball club. I'm interested to see how these playoffs play out. Now that we're kind of seeing this, we're seeing these chickens. We're seeing these 10, 12-year-old chickens come home to roost.
I found this on the web.
No, Siri. Siri's by quote Malcolm X on me. Siri's
That's why I started laughing in the first place. Like, yeah, Malcolm. But he didn't say 12. He just said, that's, you know. He's funny, man.
Yeah, I do something here and there. Well, I mean, those were most of the things that we had discussed before the show. We're about an hour deep on this. Fine with me. Is there anything we left out? Anything we didn't touch on? Anything y'all want to throw in the game?
I'm good, man. We touched on the bases. Like, I'm good. Like, I feel like we had a good talk.
Shit, fellas.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had holidays, we've had, you know, personal life things. To have not done this for a few weeks, it felt really good to do it again. It felt good to do it today. So I'm glad y'all have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. We're gonna get out of here real quick for the Loc'd podcast. As always, it's your boy Tone.
It's your boy CG.
Shaw.
Hey, we'll catch you on the flippity flop.